Welcome back. This is our last video for lesson 2.4. You need to turn your journal page. You should have found some scissors and a glue stick because we're going to be cutting out parts of our practice pages and putting it in our journal. Okay? The first thing I want you to cut out is on page 55. I would like you to put in the place value chart that has all of the measurements. Okay? I want this part that says the times 10 larger. I want the title of that basically. Let me show you. So I want it to say times 10 larger, place value chart. But I don't want these crazy arrows and messy things we did here at the bottom. So I am going to cut those off. And then I'm going to trim it all the way on the sides as close as I can. Remember, we like to save space. These scraps you can toss. So now I have this place value chart, right? I'm going to be putting a title above that, so make sure it doesn't cover the whole, but put it right on that first blue line. Center it if you can right there. And we're going to put a title on. Don't glue it in quite yet. The other ones that I want to put in here is numbers 1 through 6, plus explore metric measures of length. So 1 through 6. So I want the answer I put. I actually want the red title part. So I'm going to cut right above that. I'm going to cut my name right off of that. And cutting all the way on the left. So I have all these random little pieces that I get throw away. But I want this. Explore metric measures of length. And I want the chart. And actually what we're going to do, instead of writing a title, we'll just put that at the top as the title. So we'll reverse it, just like it was on our paper. We'll put this at the very top, and then we'll put this one right underneath it, but do not cover up the holes in your journal. Pause the video and get that all the way secured in your journal, and then at the very bottom, we're going to write just a little reminder for us when we go to do these. Okay? All right, so pause the video, get that glued in, and then come right back here to the bottom. We're just going to put some reminders, okay? Let's put a big star. We should still have our colors, so I'm going to use the purple as the star and color it in. That blue violet's pretty color. All right, we're going to be saying this. Don't forget to work carefully when adding and subtracting decimals. Don't forget to work carefully when adding and subtracting decimals. Put place values in. Actually, I don't mean to say put place values. That doesn't make sense. We're going to say stack the numbers correctly by place values. Ooh, see, that's why you want that glued in. Let's try that again. So it says, don't forget to work carefully when adding and subtracting decimals. Stack the digits on top of each other in the correct place values. Place values. Add decimals. Actually, it should say add a decimal after the ones place. And use zero the heroes if necessary. We'll just say, and use zeros as placeholders, because that's a better phrase. If necessary. Because you don't always need those zeros, but sometimes you do. And then I'm going to draw another big purple star. And you guessed it, we're going to put this in a green cloud. Some of you are catching on to that. And that's just our little last piece of advice. So again, get that those two pieces glued into your journal. You can throw away all of the little scraps and then you need to write that last statement at the end. I am just going to spend another minute or two helping you out with some of your assignment. So if you want to get your assignment homework and remembering 2.4, you can. And you can, if you've already done these, you can check to see if they're correct. If you haven't done them, then I'm going to be giving you some tips. So slide your journal to the side. You don't have to turn in the practice page because we just cut it all up. Leave your colors out because you need them for story problems. And let's just look at the homework side. It says, the chart at the right shows the time each member of a relay team ran during a race. Use the data to answer each question. How much longer did Jack run than Dusty? Remember longer, how much longer? You're going to be doing subtraction. How much time did it take Brandon and Raj to complete their 2 legs of the race combined? Oh, I wish I was giving away stamps right now. What is that going to give away? It's going to give away addition. That's what you're doing for that one. Actually, let's use our green to do those 2 phrases. How much longer and combined. Which 2 runners had the greatest difference in their running times? What is the difference? So you're going to find the person that had the longest time, and you're going to subtract who had the shortest time. So that's going to mean you're going to have to compare the decimals and think about it. Who had the longest minus the shortest? What word in this story problem gives away that it's subtraction? Do you know what it is? Say it with me. 3, 2, 1. Difference. So you'll find out who had the longest over here, and you'll minus whoever had the shortest over here, and say the 2 runners' names that you used, and then tell what the difference was. Don't forget to put it in seconds. They're all in seconds. So if you answer number 3 without a label, you're going to get it incorrect. Okay? On 4 through 15, none of those are stacked up. That means you have a lot of work to do, but I believe in you. Let's begin with number 6 and see if we can stack it up to the side. Actually, I would do this a little differently. Instead of rewriting both numbers, I would just take the second number and put it underneath that, if it's addition. If it's subtraction, I'm going to make you rewrite it. Okay? So if it's addition, you can just stack it up underneath it. So what I mean by that is look at number 6. You can just bring the addition sign over here to the left. Bring 0.91. There's a 0 in the ones place, so the 0 goes there. The decimals line up. Perfect. And now I just add them. 6 plus 1 is 7. 5 plus 9 is 14. Carry the 1. Do you know the button man? He lines the decimals up. And 1 plus 0 is 1. So once you have your answer here, I want it on the line still, and I want it circled, just like we did in our journal. So let me give you an example of one where you would have to rewrite both of the numbers. Let's look at number 8. 5 minus 1.5. There is no mental math on this. I really want you to stack them up and to show the work. So 5 minus 1.5. This is subtraction, so you have to rewrite both of them. 5, that's in the ones place if it's just a 5. So I would just put a decimal there right now. And then I'm going to minus 1.5. 1 is in the ones place, have a decimal, and then they've got a 5 in the tenths. So guess who you get to use? I would use green. You're the hero. Now it works a little bit better. 5.0 minus 1.5. You cannot do 1 minus 5. You're supposed to start on the right. You have to borrow from the 5 up here, regroup. Now you can do 10 tenths minus 5 tenths is 5 tenths. The decimals are right in line. Button it up. And 4 minus 1, 3. There is no label on this one, so it is just 3.5. Notice how I'm looking for labels just in case. All right, let's do another one of those. Let's do number 15. It's subtraction. And Ms. Fisher said that's for subtraction. You need to rewrite both of them. 6.07 minus, where does that 4 belong? It's just a lonely 4 by itself. It's in the ones place, so it belongs right here. Remember, a decimal goes after the ones place, and you have to fly into 0 the heroes. This should be easy though. 6 and 7/100 minus 4 and 0/100. That's a 0 and that's a 0. Is just 7 minus 0, 7. 0 minus 0, 0. Decimal, button them up. Make sure they're lined up. 6 minus 4, 2. Final answer, 2 and 7/100. Be very clear when you put a decimal that it's not just like a comma or a tiny dot. So you'll know how to do this one just fine. Not worried about it for you. On the remembering side, we get to use benchmarks, which is rounding, to estimate and to find the actual sum and difference. And then we have to find out whether something is reasonable or not. And then you're going to compare decimals. You know how to do these pretty easily. I'm going to work with you on number 2 just to help you remember how to do estimates. Okay? It wants you to use 0, 1/2, and 1. So to estimate, I take each fraction, and above it, I'm going to write whether that is closer to 0, 1/2, or 1 whole. So again, double check that your name and numbers on here. So 4/9. I'm going to draw a table really quickly. I'm going to draw that up here. So if this is 0 and that's 1 whole and 1/2, there's all my benchmarks. We've done this before in class. But there are all my benchmark numbers, 0, 1/2, 1. Where is 4/9? Well, you always go with ninths. You're going to always take the denominator and decide what half of 9 would be. Well, it's an odd number, so it's 4.5. And I only have 4, so I'm like right there. Who am I closer to? 0, 1/2, or 1? I'm closer to 1/2. So I just write that above here. And what about 7/18? Let's draw another one. Here's 0, here's 1, here's a half. What would this be in the half mark of 18ths? It would be 9/18. Sorry, I didn't write that very clear. That would be 9/18, and I have 7. It's like right there. Again, who's it closer to? 0, 1/2, or 1? It's closer to 1/2 again. So your estimate is 1/2 minus 1/2. Guess what? It's 0. What that means is that you're going to get a teeny tiny fraction as your answer, and that means you're close because it should be close to nothing. Remember how we talked about how, like, if you get an answer of like 1/18 or 2/18 or 1/32, those are tiny fractions. They're almost nothing. So that's why your estimate is 0 on that one. I'm going to go ahead and tell you on number 1, the estimate is not going to be 0. You're going to have to figure out, though, what those are closer to and how to add them together. When you get to number 3, do not panic. It's talking about making a necklace, and it then asks, why is it reasonable? Remember, when it asks for reasonable, they just want you to use rounding. Okay, they want you to use rounding. So 2/3 is what you're working with, and 4/21. 2/3 of the beads are red, 4/21 are blue. She wants the rest to be white. What fractions of the beads should be white? So you're going to add 2/3. You're welcome for me helping you on this. And 4/21. So you have to find the same denominator. How did I get from 3 to 21? I times by 7. And 2 times 7 is 14. Wiki wiki. 14/21 plus 4/21 is 18/21. So how much is left before I can get to all of her beads? So this amount, 18/21, was her red beads and her blue beads. So red beads were 2/3. I'm just going to write that. Blue beads were 4/21. So she wants the rest of them to be white. So how do I get this fraction to become 1 whole? I need how much more to get to that? I need 3/21. Guess what, friends? That can be simplified. How do you simplify 3/21? You divide each one by 3, making it 1/7. So my answer, what fraction of the beads should be white? 1/7 should be white. I want you to have all of this work for this problem. 1/7 should be white. But then it says, why is the answer reasonable? And you're going to use rounding here. So explain how you know the answer is reasonable. When you use the rounding here, you can really, actually on this problem, I don't actually think I would use rounding. I think what I would do here is I would just explain what happened. I would just explain that when you added the red beads and the blue beads, you knew you had to have 3/21 more to get all of her beads. So that 3/21 should be white, and it simplified to 1/7. I would just explain what you did instead of using rounding in this situation. Okay? Hopefully you're paying attention because we changed things up, didn't we? And then you know how to compare decimals. Good luck to you. Your assignment is to complete both sides and make sure you also complete the Think Central assignment. Thanks for hanging in there. Remember, adding and subtracting decimals is as easy as 1, 2, 3. And don't you forget the Button Man song.